prosecutors and those in power have expressed, the Los Angeles court has declared that Dr. Conrad Murray has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for his murder. Because this doctor has not been regretted and does not clearly understand the mistake he has made. This makes him a danger to society. But Dr. Murray actually only had to perform half the sentence of 4 years in prison. Although the trial began in November 2011 and will end in November 2015, Conrad Murray was released early due to good rehabilitation, and because the number of prisoners was too large, the prison had to reduce the number of prisoners. Until now, many people still often hear Michael Jackson's old songs. It may not only be music, but also a memory, a monument of a whole generation or a historical period. When did Michael Jackson finally rest in peace, and the accusations that people made of him finally come to light? When did the world forget that there was once a person called the King of Pop Music? Perhaps only time can give us the most accurate answer. Thank you very much for the accompaniment and support of the audience in today's video. The video will end here. Viet Kuhn Thermal Equipment. Goodbye and see you in the next videos. Have a nice day. And what Michael Jackson was accused of was accidentally very in line with what he said. The story will be told from here. Take a look at this statue. It is called Neverland. That's right, you heard it right. It is the name of the sacred land in the famous Peter Pan movie. Michael Jackson bought the land, located on the top of the Santa Ynez Canyon in Santa Barbara County, California, in 1987 with a price of about 19 million USD. Without further ado, perhaps people also know how huge this money was more than 30 years ago. In Neverland, Michael Jackson built his own playground with an amusement park, a lake, a movie theater, and a zoo. This place is described as an American country from many centuries ago for a lucky child to grow up. It also has white-walled buildings, fancy decorated street lights, trees, and flowers taken care of. The tree growers and the old village of the Reds. The candy does not lose money and is always available. The music comes out of the hidden speakers in the icebox. One of the residents of the zoo, Judea Bubbles, became the most famous companion of Michael Jackson. Famous friends are often welcomed here by Jackson. In 1991, the wife of the King of Pop, actress Elizabeth Tyler, who gave the Neverland Zoo an elephant, married the 7th husband, Larry Fortesci, here. But the most noticed characters are not the famous people, but the children. Children are often brought by Jackson to Neverland through night parties for superstars like Michael Jackson. Children need to be chosen from the charity that Michael Jackson participates in, and children are the source of the anxiety that still exists until now that Michael Jackson has to bear. The King of Pop was often accused of abusing children in his palace. 10 years after his death, the documentary Living Neverland by director Dan Redd, which lasted 4 hours, once again caused irreconcilable disputes about whether or not the King of Pop abused children. The content of the film revolves around the accusation of 36-year-old Greg Robson, choreographer, and 42-year-old James Safechuck, who played Michael Jackson. These two men used to stab Michael Jackson for the reason that the legendary singer abused children when they were still young in the late 1980s. However, the case was later dismissed because there was no concrete evidence to prove it. Before the film was officially screened, director of Living Neverland, John Cooper, had arranged a medical team to be ready to support those who had problems to see the work that clearly described the abuse of children. But what did that film talk about? James Safechuck revealed that Michael Jackson used to stab him when he was still a teenager to different luxury stores and let him try on jewelry. Michael Jackson explained to the store staff that he wanted to buy a gift for a woman, so Safechuck's tiny hands helped to measure the size. Then Michael Jackson bought a gold diamond ring and gave that gift to him at a fake wedding. The two even made a wish and almost completed the ceremony. In Living Neverland, James Safechuck publicly accepted and encouraged Michael Jackson to use expensive jewelry in exchange for love. And that's the ring you're seeing on the screen. At the peak of his love, the way Michael Jackson defined his relationship with boys, he bought for Wes Robson, the second highest-ranking actor to appear in the film My Fact. It was a hot technology device at the end of the 1980s, often used by pop stars to send messages or receive letters from fans. Not to mention the Neverland Kingdom that we admire is full of secrets. The secret places include a private room with a movie screen on Michael Jackson's skin. This room uses a one-way mirror that can be seen from the inside, but outsiders can't see it from the inside. The Neverland guest cell also has a glass closet with a bed. In addition, places such as swimming pools are also considered places where young boys of the pop kingdoms indulge, here to protect themselves. What will happen to this statue? The documentary in 2019 has mentioned extremely terrible things, but there is no convincing evidence. It's just the words of two people that no one can verify for sure. Even the witness can easily deceive the people who have no evidence against Michael Jackson, because no one knows what he really looks like. And 2019 is not the first time Michael Jackson was accused of abusing children. Before that, his efforts to defame his reputation as a pop king have all failed. In mid-1993, Jackson was accused of abusing children by a 13-year-old boy, Jordan Chandler, and his father was Evan Chandler. He started using drugs to reduce stress and quickly became addicted. Chandler's family asked for compensation but was refused. Accordingly, the male singer accused them of intending to spend money. In August 1993, the police searched Jackson's bag and found books and photos of boys in a coma in his bedroom. Because they were all bought and legally owned, the jury decided not to prosecute Jackson. In December 1993, Jordan Chandler sent the police a description of the characteristics of the male singer's body. Members of the jury argued that they were not identical, but the police confirmed that they were identical. In 1994, Michael signed a separate compensation for Chandler outside the court. The story ended, and the pop king was declared innocent for not having enough evidence. In 2003, in an episode of the documentary Living with Michael Jackson, he held hands and talked about sleeping in the same bed with a boy. The story was revived when the main character was a gay boy named Gavin Avizo. The mother accused Jackson of misbehaving. He was arrested in November 2003 and was sentenced to 7 years for harming children and 2 years for misbehaving with the boy Avizo in the show. Jackson denied everything and affirmed that sleeping at home did not cause sexual harassment. The trial took place on January 31st, 2005, and lasted for 5 months. A month later, Jackson was once again sentenced. A glorious life and the wind passed by. But by the time he closed his eyes, Michael Jackson was no longer jealous. His death was also a topic that people talked about for many years. On June 25, 2009, singer Michael Jackson died in Neverland due to his and the children's. According to the trial and conclusion, Michael Jackson was diagnosed with propofol, which led to his death at home. Dr. Conrad Murray said he found Michael Jackson in his room with weak breathing, as if he was no longer breathing on his bed. Michael Jackson was quickly treated at home, but it seemed that all the doctors could not save Michael Jackson. After the call at 9/11 at 12:20, Michael Jackson died at the ECLA Ronald Reagan. Michael Jackson's death was a great loss for the pop music and created a dark atmosphere around the world for the fans. The pop king was still attracted by the big influence. He died while preparing for a series of performances in Europe. On August 28, 2009, investigators in Los Angeles County ruled out Michael Jackson's as a murder and everything almost ended here. But after 2 years, the legal battle about who was responsible for Michael Jackson's was finally investigated. Even if it was not a direct murder, it could still be a murder. The first person to be questioned and investigated was Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson's. According to Conrad Murray, he gave propofol, a drug in surgery, to help Michael Jackson sleep all night for 2 months of his life. That means at the end of his life, Michael Jackson's was so bad that he couldn't sleep. Dr. Conrad Murray was immediately arrested for the murder of the pop king Michael Jackson. This made Michael Jackson's fans and family somewhat satisfied. But surprisingly, the doctor was not worried about this. He believed he did the right thing and served the client's best wishes. He had a reason for Michael Jackson to take that drug. Conrad Murray did not cooperate and denied any charges related to him. This made the court unable to continue the investigation as usual. Not only that, Conrad Murray made the judge and the public shocked when he said Michael Jackson used to take drugs and the pop king asked for a drug to help him sleep. Conrad Murray's, who was being examined for the murder of the pop king, said that Michael Jackson killed himself for taking too much propofol, which led to his death. He wanted to prove his innocence in the death of the pop king by asking Michael Jackson to open his grave. Of course, this was impossible. On the other hand, the police had their own ways to prove the charges against Conrad Murray. 2 of the leading experts on propofol were invited as witnesses for the trial. The first one was Dr. Paul White, known as the father of propofol with the role of a drug researcher. The second one was Dr. Stephen Schaffer, who wrote the guide and the warning for each drug. The 2 experts said that according to most of the tests, they found that marijuana and HR had certain reactions to each other. Michael Jackson's family also found that apart from using propofol in surgery, he was also using 2 other tranquilizers, benzodiazepine lorazepam and midazolam, almost every night in the last 2 months of his life. To prevent this, Conrad Murray's attorney pointed out that Dr. Murray was trying to convince Michael Jackson to use propofol with a dose of 25 milligrams to help Michael Jackson sleep instead of killing him. Whether he wanted to or not, Conrad Murray and his attorney couldn't deny a fact that the doctor didn't manage the drug properly. For example, after giving the patient the drug without using a heart monitor or breathing device, the doctor didn't manage in time. Especially after finding Michael Jackson had a sign of shortness of breath, Dr. Murray asked his attorney to hide all the drugs before calling the ambulance. This means Conrad Murray also realized the mistake when this happened, and also he definitely planned to hide his guilt. It was said that Dr. Murray was being lenient and deceitful, leading to Michael Jackson's death. That's a crime, not just a mistake in the medical field. This is a crime that the final result is the death of a person.